Hi, welcome to the Alford method. My name is Will Alford and I'm a licensed U.S. Customs broker. The Department of Homeland Security and Customs and Border Protection, CBP, now require licensed customs brokers to obtain 36 credit hours of continuing education every 3 years. My business idea is to provide the required trainings to companies and individuals either in person or via teleconference. This is a niche market. There are approximately 16,000 active customs brokers operating in the United States. Now, this is a unique opportunity for three reasons. One, it's a new requirement, so the market is not flooded with companies offering these services. Two, new requirements mean confusion. It's a prime time to solve people's problems before they become a problem. And three, time. This goes into effect technically in 2024, but does not officially go into effect until 2027, which allows me the time to properly set up the company, get customers, understand needs, and be up and running by the time they go into effect. Now, I did get some exciting news today that there is an alternative now for my business, and that's because CBP did a request for information for the licensed customs brokers to provide them with uh, ideas on who should be the the people that are approving or denying these training companies. So I have an alternative pitch for you, a pivot pitch, if you will, and I'll make it quick, I promise. So Customs and Border Protection is requiring licensed customs brokers to undergo continuing education training to keep their licenses active. Companies who offer this training will have to be accredited. CBP is looking to the licensed customs broker community for organizations that will accredit these companies, these training companies. The Alford method will review these 1 hour trainings from companies and approve or deny their accreditation on behalf of the U.S. government. So I'll get into the pivot plan in just a minute, but I am pretty excited about it. All right. So the revenue model is what we're supposed to talk about for module 5. And so I have on the left my current business and on the right the pivot business plan. All right. So for the current business, I have to get accredited. That's a big thing. Then create web trainings, do a marketing campaign where I'm advertising in trade publications. Hopefully getting on the government websites as someone who is doing this. Do word of mouth will be a big deal for me. Just make sure the website's up and running, get on social media, things like that, and really just push the fact that if licensed customs brokers don't get these trainings, these continuing education credits, that they will lose their license. So that's going to be kind of my way in, if you will, for this. And then it comes to customer retention. So loyalty programs, discounts, uh, referrals, referral bonuses, which kind of brings us to the next point, to get new customers. So get referrals from current customers, and then do something to hook the new customers. So maybe buy 3 trainings and you get one half off, something like that, some sort of uh, scheme, if you will. And so the whole idea is just to get new customers and keep the ones that I have. And then and I do think that would work for licensed customs brokers, because I don't think that people are going to be wanting to look a lot if they get somewhere that they like. So I think that's doable. And then for the pivot business plan, uh, first off is get approved by the government to be an approver slash denier for these training companies. So get that, approve and decline projects as necessary. Uh, Hire employees to handle more projects, and sometimes maybe more specific projects when it comes to certain things that the government's looking for, because they are using partner government agencies such as FDA and things like that. So maybe I'll need another person who understands FDA on the team. And then bid for additional projects and expanded scope. So knowing I can handle more, bid for it, and then just loose background for getting that approved by the government. Hey, need more of them? Like, here you go, and so forth. So those are my revenue models for both the current business and the pivot business plan. All right, next we're going to look at revenue streams, service offerings, and risks. All right, so revenue streams, honestly, for the current plan is getting paying customers, and most of it's going to be web based. I know I've discussed doing a printed copy of these thing right now. I'm going to focus on the web, so that's where my revenue streams will come on. And then for the pivot plan, the government will be my revenue stream. Hopefully, American money is still good, and that will be a win for me. All right, for service offerings and pricing, like I just said, for the current plan, web-based trainings. So the government did publish some more details about this. They want them to be 1 hour each for people to get their 1 hour of continuing education credits. So, offer a pay per training is kind of my first thought with this model. And that, just because I'm going to have to get all these trainings up and running. So if the government says, hey, just run with it, then fantastic, I'll do that, and start charging subscriptions for people, or offering subscriptions, or multiples for less money than you would for individual offerings. And then for the pivot plan, essentially just charge per 1 hour training that I review, and this will be a charge back to the government, I believe. So I need to make sure that I price that accordingly, because most of the money is going to come from most is going to come from my time and effort. And right now it's hard to put a price on that without knowing everything. But I do know that the government is suggesting that we're going to have to look at these companies' resumes of every employee who's going to be involved with these trainings. Uh, you know, check their credentials, check the training itself, and check their website, things like that, to make sure everything's functioning. So it will take a little bit of time. So I just need to make sure that I price it accordingly. And the risks, biggest risk right now is not receiving accreditation. So I want to be able to provide these trainings. Next risk for the pivot plan would be not being selected as an approver. Um, they might seem like uh, the death of the company, but I do believe that hopefully the government would say, hey, you didn't receive the accreditation because you're missing XYZ. And then I could, fix the site to have XYZ and then get the accreditation later. Or for us not being selected as approver, same thing, basically, like, hey, we didn't select you as approver because of this. Fix that, then reapply and hopefully get it then. My plan, though, is to get in on the ground running as soon as possible. So hopefully at least one of the plans will work out first try. Next thing, assuming that my business is approved or that I'm accredited, is that my website would crash. So if I'm telling people to go to these trainings but my website doesn't work, then that's not good. Or if hackers get into the site and steal information, or just God knows what they'll do, but need to prevent that as much as possible. Make sure it's secure. Another risk is competition. So I'm sure there are going to be other companies out there trying to get in on the trainings, and so just making sure that whatever I offer is you know up to the industry standard, if you will, or better. I'd like it to be better, so that way I can stay ahead of the game. But then the next risk would be few customers. So it's already a small pool to begin with, 16,000 licensed customs brokers. So with that being said, I need to get a decent percentage of them to make this a profitable business. And then the last thing would be time and employees. Just make sure I have the time to do all of this. And if I don't, I need to get employees. And employees also comes in handy for the, honestly, either the current business plan or the pivot plan, just because I know the government's looking for specific backgrounds on some of these. The government works with partner government agencies, for example, FDA. So, I know FDA, but maybe I need someone else to do it. Maybe I'm getting a lot of trainings in on that, and I'm having a hard time keeping all my time, using my time, enough to be able to handle all the projects we have. So, these are risks I have, currently at least. All right, so for the business model canvas, I just want to highlight a few things that I have updated on this, and mostly because of the pivot business that I've thrown on here. Now, I think I could have added government as a customer relationship and also a value proposition just for the pivot plan. So just make a note of that, if you will. And then also key activity is this, if I were to add the whole pivot plan that I had earlier in this slideshow, shows us basically get approved for being an approver, and then go through the whole process I showed you earlier with reviewing the trainings, approving, denying, getting my more employees, and so I can handle more bids, and then getting more bids. All right, but for customer segments, I added companies who are trying to become accredited to publish training, and that'd be my pivot plan. Channels would be my business website still, and then also government publications, and the government publications would work for either the current plan or the pivot plan. And just having my name listed out there, my company name listed on the government publications would be huge either way. Key partners, I added other licensed customs brokers should I expand, And also U.S. government, they'll be a partner if I pivot, so they're definitely a key partner. In regards to the other licensed customs brokers, should I expand? For the pivot plan, the government did specify, they specified a few things that they wanted from the people who are going to become approvers, and they made me answer a questionnaire with 7 questions on it and provide some extra information about why I'm qualified for this. They basically want to know your background, if you have experience with imports, exports, partner government agencies, things like that, which I do. They also want to know how many employees you have, so I think that is one of the risks I could have added to my earlier slide. I have myself, so there's one thing, but they're also one of the requirements seems to be that you're a licensed, at least one person in your company is a licensed customs broker who has this background. And I assume that they are kind of saying that if you have other employees who aren't licensed customs brokers, but you are, but they understand, the topic at hand, then that should be okay. So perhaps I could put other employees, not just licensed customs brokers, but there you go. All right, then key resources would be additional employees for all those things I just mentioned. And then revenue streams, I add a U.S. government if I'm selected to approve or deny accreditation to companies. And that's a nice, should be a nice steady revenue stream partner, if you will, on that one. But yeah, so I'm happy to present you that exciting news about the possible pivot plan. I think it's best to have, it's good to have 2 different options now at the beginning of all this. I'm still going full speed ahead with the current plan with the trainings, providing the trainings. Um, but it's nice to know that possibly I could be an approver instead. And you know, I think at the end of this, whichever one works out, I think I'll probably end up adding consulting services of some sort to this once one of these starts making enough revenue. So I think that's it. So, yeah, thank you, everybody. I'm really looking forward to seeing your presentations this weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.